When talking about a film like The Lost City, I do have to give my little speech about why I cannot be impartial with a film like this, because it is technically a movie where people find clues that lead them to places and then find more clues at those places to bring them to more places. I really need to find an acronym for that type of film, because just saying that out loud doesn't work that well. In the way that Red Notice is the dumb action movie version of that type of film, The Lost City is the romantic comedy version of that type of film. Sandra Bullock was an archaeologist. She was really into doing all this stuff with her husband. She then didn't really have the best career path forward, so she turned to writing romance novels that were based on her experience being an archaeologist, and Channing Tatum is the cover model of those books. The sort of conceit of the film is that Sandra Bullock's husband died off screen like years ago, and that left her feeling alone, isolated, and she basically hasn't left her home in like 5 years. The first thing I'll say about the film is like that setup seems like the film was trying to find a way to talk about the effects of isolation without specifically mentioning COVID-19, the pandemic, all of that other stuff. They were trying to do their best to tell a story about what it can be like when you cut yourself off from the world and what you are missing out on by being so isolated. And I guess they kind of were thinking about it in terms of this film, hopefully getting people to like go back out there and to restart their lives and start doing those things that they loved before the pandemic shut them all down. And I'm wondering now how much we're going to get this in other films moving forward, how people are going to try to address the sort of overarching themes of what it was like to live through COVID without actually talking about COVID. Try to stealth it in there, you know? So I give the filmmakers some credit there, because they clearly wanted to tell a post-COVID-19 story without talking about viruses or masks or anything like that. So great, good. I'm happy with that. Good decision on their part. What I was impressed by probably the most in this film was Channing Tatum himself. He is his normal, charming self, but he has this sort of way of being able to present himself in the first part of the film as being goofy, as being aloof, as not really understanding how other humans exist and how they work. And then over the course of the film, you start to understand that he actually is an emotionally attuned person. And as that comes out, it's all in line with beats where the relationship between Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock are starting to fall in love with each other. And obviously a lot of those beats are also comedic in nature. You just saw in the trailer the scene where Channing Tatum is having leeches ripped off of his body, including his very nice bum. The trailer also does a really good job of sort of hiding the plot of the film. The actual thing that is being ultimately searched for, is not even mentioned in this trailer, and only a couple of throwaway shots are actually from the last, say, third of the film. So most of what you see here in the trailer is the first third of the film. I think this trailer also is doing a kind of service to the audience by how the trailer ends. And that is with the appearance of Brad Pitt being so handsome because his father was a weatherman.
Why are you so handsome?
My dad was a weatherman.
And with where the trailer ends, I think the audience, and you guys can let me know if you thought this way as well, is that the main narrative thrust of the film will be Channing Tatum being kind of an aloof goofball, and Brad Pitt sort of fighting and competing over the affections of Sandra Bullock as they attempt to escape from this island. And that's actually a curveball, something that is not necessarily true and reflective of how the story actually goes. And so there are moments of surprise in the film. This is a movie that will surprise you with its actual quality. While watching it, I was kind of always just not in awe, but just appreciative of the skill that was put into it. Like, this did not feel like any old film where people just showed up, got paid, said their lines, and then just continued on their merry little way. This film didn't feel like a rest stop for everybody. Everyone was just on board with the concept, on board with the idea of making it as best as they could, and they executed on it fairly well. I won't say that like the degree of difficulty was super high. This is certainly not an audacious film, as I like to say about other films that I really, really love. And if you were to go look at my Letterboxd review of this, you would see that I was making allusions to this film in terms of fast food. And we often see this in terms of like American pop culture, that it's all like fast food. It's all easily digestible, it's cheap, it's quick, it gets the job done, but overall you're not going to care about it, and no one's ever going to remember like the greatest Big Mac they ever had in their life, right? And this film certainly is fast food, but in the way that fast food can make you feel like crap as soon as you're done eating the fast food, this film, The Lost City, does not do that. The metaphor does not extend that far. And I left the theater with a smile on my face thinking like, you know what? That was fun. I had a fun time with that. I had a good time with this movie. I recommend that people go see it.